research travelers, and welcome to another episode of Tales of Teyvat, a Genshin Lore Podcast. Last week, we got sleepy with Layla, as she seduced us with her slow and tired voice, allowing Shadow Self to come out.
Like Dakota Johnson.
Like Dakota Johnson, I know, I was a little inspired. This week, we are escaping our Shadow Self, but staying in our dreamscape as we discuss the Daydream Club of Fontaine.
Are you looking for Dottore? Well, you found him. Also, check out our website at talesofteyvat.com, where Tiff has curated a fabulous visual experiment for you to test and enjoy.
While you're on our site, check out our past episodes and seasons, artist spotlights from the community for every topic, and some other goodies.
Finally, feel free to email us at talesofteyvatpod@gmail.com to let Albedo know what you thought of this podcast and what topics you might want to see in the future. Albedo has been doing a wonderful job taking on some extra responsibilities at Angel Share and taking on our mails. We really appreciate his hard work and dedication. We may have given him some ingredients that he needed, but that's fine. If you enjoyed this podcast, you could also feel free to give us a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts to let travelers know that we are a hunky-dory good old time. You could daydream about the stuff we talk about. No nightmares here. And travelers can also feel free to check out our Ko-fi shop where you can buy us a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. Honestly, a Sunny D vodka seltzer would be great this time of year. Whatever you want. You can also check out our merch shop where you can see our Dead Friends Club, our Orphan Alert, and our typical Tales of Teyvat merch. We got stickers, t-shirts, hoodies. There's a bunch of stuff on there you can check out. All proceeds go to helping us pay for our editing software, our web hosting, and making sure that we are caffeinated on long research nights and editing nights.
With a cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee. I know, every time I say it, I'm like, someone's going to say something.
That might have been the most New York I've heard you, though.
I feel like it's just certain words the New York comes out, and I'm like, I don't know where it's coming from.
I've never been able to say coffee any other way.
Coffee.
Coffee talk.
I gotta open the drawer, get a spoon, put in my coffee.
Shaken, not stirred. But, all right, so today we're talking about the Daydream Club. And I know that a lot of travelers saw that we announced this topic and were like, what the fuck is a Daydream Club? Is this like their side project? Is this like what Amanda's calling her fan fiction now?
No lie, I was one of those people.
The Daydream Club is very, very real. And this episode has been a topic many years, which is weird to say, in the making.
Like 2.
That's many. In the length of time Genshin's been out, 2 years is a lot. Brandon and I have been freaking out about the Daydream Club to the point that Tiff was like, what the fuck are you two on? Many times.
I really thought I fell asleep during a really big important quest or something.
She was like, oh, the Hexen Circle is really the Daydream Club?
Yeah.
All right, got it. Now, many people might be saying, what is the Daydream Club? And you'd be right to ask that. So in the words of a member, Felix Uwe, this is how he describes the Daydream Club as a daydreamer himself. Let me think. How should I explain this? So generally, a club is a loose assembly of people sharing the same interest, but the Daydream Club is bound by something more than interests. That is to say, dreams. However, these dreams are often criticized as unrealistic. So we said to ourselves, why not just name the club Daydream? And that's what we did. As for us, the members of the club are naturally daydreamers, holding to our daydreams. So yeah, I still don't really know what the club is about.
I do like, though, that he began to explain to us what a club in general is.
I think they're just nerds. Like they're inventors who
they're inventors,
are nerds who have wild dreams of like, what is like this invention that no one would actually have the audacity to try to do. and they will try it.
Now, do any of their dreams ever go into the hypnotic side, like the Sumeru's festival kind of walking zombie kind of dreamies?
2 of them are really into hypnosis.
Yeah.
But they didn't cause the Sumeru's festival, as far as I know. Now, all of these members, so, in short, this is the Fontaine group of inventors with grandiose ideas. They are small in numbers, but huge in imagination. And that's really what counts, right? They don't have matching jackets. They don't even have matching hats. Most of them wear the same color, but there's 1 or 2 that don't. So I don't know.
And they all have glasses.
And yeah, they all have glasses and they're from Fontaine. So
wait, so Uncle Glasses can join too.
Oh no.
Ooh.
I don't want
like
him
that
to join.
idea.
I love that idea.
No, send him home. Actually, 1 doesn't have glasses, so you don't need to have glasses to join.
Wait, which one?
Xavier, Xavier. He doesn't have glasses.
Xavier.
No, he just has a big stupid dumb hat.
Yeah, and a very French name.
That's not the real Xavier, which we'll get into.
Oh no.
Oh, really? But he still wears a dumb hat.
That's where a really stupid.
Can we start with my favoriteest of the Daydream Club?
Yes, but I want to go over one other thing before we jump into the Daydream Club. So hold that note, Tiff, please. And sing it to us, because I'm going to talk a little bit about Petrichor. So a lot of stuff with the Daydream Club comes back to Petrichor. That is where they meet. So for people who don't remember what Petrichor is that little random island that's not up on the big plateau of Fontaine. They were kind of like annexed away, I guess, when that got built up. And Petrichor is considered part of Fontaine, but it looks very Italian. A lot of people think that like Venice was probably a big inspiration for them when designing it, and like little Italian towns as well. So Petrichor, it's the one area of Fontaine that's not sitting above, which makes me question whether or not it got flooded during the Great Flood of the Archon Quest. It's considered a tourist spot, the perfect place to see the waterfalls coming off the mainland of Fontaine. It's known for its beautiful, clear waters. And in an ancient Teyvatian language, Petrichor means golem, which makes a lot of sense because Remuria, full of all their golem people, it lies beneath the surface of Petrichor. So Petrichor is your entryway to Remuria for the most part. And the thing about Petrichor is that there's a lot of stuff that happened there. If you did not do the Petrichor / Remuria / Sea of Bygone Eras quest line, you might want to take a pause before listening to this episode. And just a quick reminder to travelers of what that quest was about. Traveler shows up, you as the traveler show up as Ether or Lumine to Petrichor to find out that everyone is under a strange hypnosis. You don't realize it at first, but then a cat starts talking to you and you're kind of like, oh, okay. Am I daydreaming? Is this what they meant by Daydream Club? Everyone is hypnotic. But the long story short, you find out that this thing called the Phobos is trying to re-control minds in Remuria. It's basically a musical thing that can control your mind, and it's kind of crazy, and it's been destroyed before. And they're trying to recreate the Remurian Empire from underground with golems and whales. And there's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah.
But that really affects Petrichor. And
we have a whole episode about this, about Remuria. It's episode 91, if you want to go back.
And we do talk a lot about the quest line that relates back to Petrichor because of that as well. So we kind of go through the past and help you understand what the fuck a Phobos is. And then we talk about why we're talking to a cat. So, everything gets answered in that episode. Remuria and the Sea of Bygone Eras is like Tiff's favorite region.
Yeah, really. I love the music down there because it's underwater, and there are parts that you're not underwater, but for the most part, you're just kind of floating down there. Your character can't go into their regular idle. So I would just let somebody float down there and listen to the music before the actual album came out. They do have the OST out now.
And this becomes a big issue when looking at the Daydream Club, because Petrichor is their home base. So, of course, that means that some of our Daydream Club members were part of the hypnosis, and they were part of this giant what they will eventually call dreamscape, which is interesting because we brought up dreamscapes recently in another episode. It seems to be a reoccurring theme in Genshin. So we get a little insight into what it was like to be mind controlled and the inspiration that, of course, these daydreamers had to fucking find through that.
Yeah. So if it's not clear yet, the Daydream Club is just a group of people, nerds. Should we list them?
Yeah. Well, Tiff, who's your favorite? You were going to say a favorite.
My absolute favorite is Lady Grobel.
Ah, the meow meow.
She is a cat.
Grispan's cat.
Meow meow.
Yeah, she only speaks in cat. She is the president and director of the Daydream Club. She's one of those black and white sheriff cats. Some may tell you that she is just a cat and her owner is crazy, but I don't believe it. I believe that Lady Grobel is a very powerful woman in that little cat body.
Oh, okay.
I'm staying with it. I love Lady Grobel.
Yeah, Lady Grobel gives me like TCG Prince vibes.
Yes.
Or like the priestess over in Inazuma cat.
Mhm.
Like, I think something's going on with Lady Grobel.
I think it's just Grispan's cat.
That would be the someone I was talking about. Ruining my dreams.
Who, Brandon, are the people who are under the director's lead? Who does Lady Grobel control?
So there's Xavier, which we mentioned before. There's Garcia. There is Felix. There is Mécantre. Mécantre, I don't know. Babisse, Este/Este, Grispan/Grispan, and that's it.
Those are the only members. And please note that everyone besides the cat and Este wears a red outfit. Just throwing it out there.
The cool part, though, about even what you said, though, is that outside of Este and Lady Grobel, they all wear red, but they also, all of those people are the ones who have invented things that we have already heard of, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was about Xavier, Xavier, Xavier. My Cabbage Patch Kid had a signature from Xavier, somebody or other, on her butt. So it's,
What?
Do you remember that? Cabbage Patch Kid? Oh, wait, you're too young for a Cabbage Patch Kid, aren't you?
I mean, I know what a Cabbage Patch Kid is. I didn't know they had someone sign their asses.
Yes. Xavier, somebody or other. I don't remember what the dude's last name was, but the inventor of Cabbage Patch Kids. And they had a signature on their butt cheek. That's how you knew they were legit.
He signed the asses of these baby dolls.
It's sort of like a tramp stamp.
Yeah.
I hate it.
My baby doll had a tramp stamp.
Why are we giving baby dolls born in a cabbage tramp stamps?
Because you needed to know that they were like the real ones and not the fake ones. Because people went crazy for Cabbage Patch Kids back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Well, I'll up you one. Did you know that in diners, when diners were first being invented, that they were like a big thing for artists creating them, and that a lot of designers of the diners would sign somewhere in the diner and you'd have to go find them. That's my signature fun fact that has nothing to do with Cabbage Patch dolls.
Or a butt.
Or butts. Or tramp stamps.
It's very East Coast.
It is very East Coast. But anyway.
But Xavier invented the camera. The camera with a K.
Yeah, what's with that?
The camera.
Camera.
That's because Alice already trademarked the one with a C.
Well, he specifically made the film camera, which means video camera. So there was already like a camera, but he made like the actual like video camera.
He's the reason we have movies in Fontaine and in Teyvat, which makes sense. And we'll get a little bit more into him later because he's probably one of the two that we know the most about. But you do meet him actually in Inazuma right off the bat, which is fun. He's right out there in Inazuma, and he's annoying in Inazuma. And you're like, does this guy ever go away?
Well, I mean, it's Dottore, so.
Well, not at first.
No, I think it's him the whole time, but we'll get into that.
We'll talk about that later. Dottore. You then have, and we'll get a little bit more into him as well, but you have Garcia. And Garcia you actually can find in Liyue, Sumeru, and Fontaine in different quests, which is kind of crazy. He's everywhere.
You first meet him in Liyue with his sexy assistant Lutong.
Oh, yeah. Like, if this was a romancing game, that would have been my romanceable character.
Yeah. Why is he so hot?
It's the personality. He's like really, he looks great, and then he's also like so kind.
He's like so supportive. Like we all want a Luton in our lives.
He's a great wingman for Felix too.
Wing woman. I think he is a good wing woman for Garcia.
There's too many for Garcia.
When Garcia like strikes up a romance with the other Kaya.
Yeah, which was so confusing.
When we do captions, let me tell you, that name will finally be correct.
Not this time. It's gonna learn. It's gonna be like, I got it right finally.
Yeah, it'll switch it to Kaya, like K-A.
Yes.
E-Y-A.
And it'll be so proud of itself too.
Yeah. You're like, look, I learned.
We use like a really awesome bot that the Shade Chamber let us use to do captioning better. It's been like trained on Genshin names and stuff so it could get things right. It still doesn't get it right.
It's still very hard. It's difficult.
Better than YouTube.
Yeah.
Add ashtray.
And slut lolly.
Slut lolly and
Slut
add
lolly.
ashtray. So then another member we have is Grispan. He's the one that's hanging out with the cat, with Lady Grobel. He's the one calling her director. And you can find him actually in a Natland daily, which is interesting. And depending on where you are in Remuria, he kind of has different thoughts too. But he's out there trying to research hypnosis stuff. So that's great.
It's interesting because we hear dialogue about him back in Fontaine before we get to Natland, and then we find him in Natland. So like in Fontaine, the other Daydream Club members are like, he's gone, and so is his cat. Garcia thinks he's an idiot, but then he shows up in the stadium doing commissions, so daily commissions. So
yeah, because he's like too worried, basically. He's like, I won't survive this. You need to help me. And then he becomes very worried because no one at Petrichor is answering his letters.
Yeah.
Depending on where you are, of course, in the Petrichor storyline. Then you have Este. I'm going to go with Este. I like that. Este is the one guy who's like, red doesn't look good on me. I'm not going to wear red. I hate him. No. He is like, he's got crazy lore because he doesn't really get affected by the whole dreamscape thing of Remuria and Petrichor like everyone else. And he actually helps us a little bit in like kind of being like, yeah, Petrichor's fucked up, man. I don't know what's going on when you first get there.
Actual dialogue from the game.
Yes. And you find out that he has like this really great ancestry that like basically gave him blood to survive this dreamscape. And he's super into hypnosis as well. So Tiff, there's your two guys.
But he wasn't into hypnosis until after the Remuria storyline.
Until he witnessed hypnosis.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I think Grispan is onto something. I should be looking into hypnosis as well.
He gets like so almost like upset that he wasn't there to collect data from the little hypnosis thing when you talked to him in Nalan.
Oh, Grispan, yeah.
He's just like, my God, that would have been so awesome.
Like, dude, your brothers in arms, like, were hypnotized.
I feel like that's all of them. I feel like that's the Daydream Club mentality. Like, we are nerds and we're here for nerdism, and that's it. Like, we will be nerds to the end. I don't care about your emotions. I care about science.
But there's a little bit of camaraderie amongst them. I mean, like, Grispan is worried that no one's answered his letters at first, and then he gets mad.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mécantre, he is like actually very worried about people as well. So yeah, there is definitely emotions.
Well, those are the brothers, right? So yeah, let's talk about our little brother duo. They both get hypnotized. They are mostly in Petrichor. So you have Mécantre and Babisse. Babisse? Is that what we're saying?
I think it's
Babisse.
You have Mécantre and Babisse, and they are two brothers, and their like main work is basically like they're trying to rocket to the moon. If you've seen that black and white like 3-second movie.
I think they're just trying to rocket to the fake sky.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get to Celestia.
Yeah.
But they're basically trying to make a rocket ship. That is like their dream at first.
Well, they're creating a supersized cannon that will be able to fire hollow cannonballs to Teyvat stars with people inside of the hollow cannonballs. So they're like, there has to be a lot of padding. Like we have to put a lot of cushions in there.
They're like
So
NASA.
literally want to fire giant balls with people in them up to the sky.
You know where they should go to get inspo? Penacony. Because they literally just have those balls that like bounce.
Oh,
Where like it
like
would
a
be
pinball
perfect
machine.
for them. Too bad that's also in a dreamscape. Dreams, man.
dreamy bullshit.
But Babisse, he's the older brother, so Mécantre is the baby brother, and they both get possessed by this Remurian science guy. And after they kind of, from the hypnosis, they take like positive strides after that. They're like, we learned so much, and now we want to create better aqueducts. I'm like, what?
Yeah, so they're both described by Felix, who is like our gateway into the Daydream Club, as having boundless energy, both of the brothers. And Mécantre is described by Garcia as clever, described by Felix as having boundless energy. Both of them are actually described as boundlessly energetic.
Sounds like a fun night at Swing Tank.
Oh, yeah. They come every now and then. Don't worry. We're not far.
But yeah, Garcia describes Mécantre as clever and Babisse as strategic. And then we find out that, during the whole like Remurian questline, they were possessed by spirits of Remuria. And we find out that Mécantre was working, like the person he was possessed by was working on a high altitude aqueduct. And he plans on working on that after the super cannon. Babisse was also possessed by a Remurian researcher. We find out that person was working on a high-speed aquabus, which he plans on utilizing that research into making the cannonballs.
Which, like, of course, they get like the frickin' frack inventions too. They like go hand in hand with one another.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna make a really high altitude water bridge, and I'm gonna make the water bus.
Also, just want to add, when we tell Felix that we met Xavier in Inazuma, Felix says that he will send a letter to Mécantre so he can stop worrying. So there's some kind of connection between Mécantre and Xavier.
Mécantre kind of feels like the most emotional, empathetic of the bunch.
Yeah.
He's also like the young brother of the group, it seems.
He's like the worry wart. Yeah.
Also, they make me think of Phineas and Ferb. I don't know if either of you have ever seen that show, but it's a cartoon, a Nickelodeon cartoon that is like coming back now, and it's basically like Phineas and Ferb, they're stepbrothers, and they're just always causing trouble. It's like the whole thing is like they have summer vacation and they're gonna do something each day, and they invent stuff, and it's crazy stuff you could never do in a day. They fight like evil with their platypus because they have a pet platypus who's secretly a spy.
Okay.
And stuff like that, and like that's kind of how I imagine these two, like Phineas and Ferb. I'll make you guys watch an episode. They're like short, I promise.
Platypus as a spy.
Yeah, his name is Perry the Platypus, and no one can tell that he's Perry the Platypus unless he puts on his hat because superhero dynamics,
Uh-huh.
But then our last main member of the Daydream Club is Felix. And Brandon said it the best. Felix is like your initial gateway into the Daydream Club because his first appearance is in 2.8. That's before Inazuma, right?
No, I think that was during Inazuma.
Okay, like during right as it was getting released?
Yeah, because Mondstadt and Liyue came out in 1.
Okay.
So Inazuma would have been 2.
So there's a chance you might have run into Xavier before Felix.
Yeah.
But I agree. I still think that because if you're not looking for Xavier and his little like side quest, this was an event. And so if you wanted primos and a crown, which I always do, you were forced to do this and meet a Daydream Club member.
And I feel like he has an event that was not well received. I could be wrong. but I feel like it's the Evermotion mechanical painting.
Mm.
So it's the one with all the gears that you have to connect.
Which I love.
You
You
loved
loved it,
it?
Tiff?
I loved it. I want it to come back.
Well, it did come back in 3.7.
But I mean, like, I want it here forever. I love it.
I want it now, is what Tiff is saying.
Gimme, gimme, gimme.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it
I like anything
either.
in Mondstadt for the most part.
I don't know. I feel like people, I don't know, maybe I'm projecting something. I liked it, but I felt like it was a little difficult.
Yes, I will agree with that. And I remember the first time I did it, I had just done an escape room like the day before. And so I felt like I was in the escape room again.
You're having flashbacks.
Yeah, like the escape room I was in had like nuts, like kind of like the same things, like the gears and whatnot. So I was like, I've already done this. So maybe I'm biased because I was like, I could do this easily
Uh-huh. I have nightmares about this.
every other day. But so that's my little thing on that. But you were right, that gets being brought back twice. The one time is in Mondstadt, and he basically is trying to show off what he calls the kinesis cores to the world. And it's this whole thing that he's developed.
Which are just wind up gears.
Right, but it's amazing, Brandon. Don't sell him short.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, come on. He invented clockwork, basically. But while he's on his way to Mondstadt, he actually gets like attacked by treasure hoarders, because duh. And a bunch of his pieces go missing. And so we meet him in Mondstadt, and he's like, yeah, I'd love to show you my kinetic kinesi cores, but I can't because they've been stolen.
Dun, dun, dun.
Kinesi core.
And so, of course, we get dragged into finding all the core pieces that are missing for him, because what else would we do? And you actually get to keep the Evermotion mechanical painting for your teapot afterwards. I have mine front and center in my living room. It's great. I really enjoy it.
Big fan.
Does it do anything?
It just moves.
It just looks pretty.
It's just like a regular picture.
Yeah, it moves around. It gives a little.
Oh, I was gonna like, does it like move? Like, does it rotate?
I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's not gonna like fly off your wall or anything. Yeah, I think it just like does like a little simple little like do 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 do.
I will say the description for the piece does refer to Felix as a dreamer. It says that it's like special work created by a dreamer from Fontaine, but he seems to be like this guy with a wealth of knowledge, and he's very willing to share his wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, and he not only explains what the Daydream Club is, he also tells us that his whole thing is trying to invent an energy source that can operate in perpetuity, made with purely mechanical structures that anyone can handle.
Yeah, I had to Google perpetuity. Perpetuity. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know what this means, but I had to look it up. Like, he wants it to just be forever. Like, you'll just go and go and go.
As in perpetual, yeah.
I feel like the unknown god's not gonna like that.
I don't think she's all that into eternity.
Oh yeah, A would fucking hate it.
But it's kind of like the dream that we all have, right? Is like energy that is not reliant on natural resources from the planet.
No fossil fuels, no water.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So it's a noble endeavor for sure.
Yeah, he's not doing well though. He's over here trying to sell his art basically instead, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's definitely not making this energy source.
Maybe he's trying to raise funds to like figure out a way to make it.
Maybe, I don't know. But those are like your main characters here. Now, before we jump into Xavier and Garcia, who are definitely the most popular too, and the ones that we get the most interesting storylines out of, I did just want to pop back to Grispan. So he's the guy who's over in Natlan with his cat. And so there's a daily around him, and this daily can go one of a few ways depending on how much you've done of the Remuria lore. But basically you find out that he's trying to gather phlogiston, which is the energy stuff in Natlan. But he's really struggling to do so because it's so hot out, and he was not prepared for the Natlan heat. And he's so worried about his friends back home because no one has answered his letters. So if you've done the Remuria stuff, you can tell him what happened. And he goes, I am truly most shooketh.
Yeah,
That's
one of the most quotable lines of this whole game.
Truly most shooketh. It's like, where did you get that from? Who are you? Were you talking to a how? Like, that sounds like some shit a how would tell you to say so you look stupid. And then after he shook, all of his worries go away. And he's like, damn it. I could have gotten the data from that. I need to get out of Natlan now. And I need to get there and I need to see what data I could collect still. So his empathy went out the window pretty quickly when he realized it was a missed opportunity. So he's back to the idea that he needs to collect the phlogiston. And he says that his main blockage, besides the heat and besides his worries, has been saurians. And he's like, yo, I could fight mechanical things all day. Saurians, they're so cute. How do you fight them? So he tells us that he needs our help, basically.
They're so cute.
He does not say that they're cute. Just, I'm trying to make him look good.
But that's honestly our conversation all the time. Like, how can I fight these guys? They're so cute.
They're just little babies.
Like, I can't believe they make me kill the babies for their teeth.
Like, can't I just call a dentist?
Yeah.
But he says the saurians are his main roadblock and that he's trying to collect the phlogiston to use as a thermal energy to therefore conduct hypnosis. So we're back to mind control. And this is how he describes his hypnotic device. He says he doesn't have it with him at the moment, but imagine a box half a person in height, just large enough for a person to sit within. And this box contains a steamer that constantly generates steam, which kind of seems like the point of a steamer, keeping the box's internal temperature at a specific value. And the person undergoing the hypnosis will sit with their head exposed while their body is heated up inside. And he thinks that that will allow hypnosis to be faster and better.
It's a sauna.
So a sauna.
Yeah, like a portable sauna.
Yeah.
I think he's just trying to make them all have like heat stroke.
Which is what Paimon says.
Is that what she says? Oh.
Paimon's like, so you're gonna make people pass out from being overheated? And he's like, you're not thinking big enough, Paimon. I forget what he says.
Paimon's like, oh, but I'm thinking big enough. Remember, I'm the one who wanted a juicer. She still doesn't have a juicer. We should talk to the Daydream Club about that. But yeah, then you can help him and there's different options. You could just give him stuff that you have. You can invite him to come with you. There's one point where he's like, Lady Grobel, you must stay here. You cannot come with us. It is too dangerous. And like, honestly, you both should just stay back.
And Grobel's like, meow.
Meow, meow, meow. Yeah, Lady Grobel, so from Grispan's perspective, Lady Grobel always answers. She's always got something to say. And it's usually pretty, like, on point. And he can understand what she's saying. Like, it's not like he's like, so what do you think, Lady Grobel? And then there's no meows for 10 minutes. And then she's like, meow, meow. Like, he'd be like, what do you think, Lady Grobel? And she's like, meow, 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 meow.
In other words, she's answering.
Yeah, it feels like an
Or
answer.
he's making up his own interpretation of her meows.
Regardless, she's answering him.
I mean, she might be saying, you stupid son of a bitch, I can't understand you.
Give me some
Yeah.
tuna, bitch.
Yeah.
And also, Grispan states that Lady Grobel hates unexpected incidences. And that when we have to leave her behind because it's too dangerous in the one option, he's like, she'll probably scold me later. And I'm like, how do you know it's a scolding? Like, is she just like, meow?
It's a hiss.
Or like...
She hisses, yeah. Someone put a cucumber in front of her.
Oh my God, stop it. Wait, I want to know how she reacts now. It's like Ito seeing a soybean. Where you put sticky notes on her paws. Have you seen that one with the cats?
No.
They put post-it notes on the cat's paws and they just don't know how to
No.
walk. They're like,
I feel
"Wah!"
like people love to torture cats in video.
I put a cucumber in front of Cosgrove once. He was like, okay. And
It's like, can I eat this?
I did it to my cat too when we had my cat, but I think she was too old. She was like, okay.
She's like, whatever. I don't care if it's a snake. Let it eat me.
She's like, I'm 20, bitch. I'm ready. All right. So do you guys want to talk about Garcia first, or do you want to talk about Xavier first?
Well, can we talk more about Este?
Yeah, Este and his crazy family life or family history.
Yeah, he was a descendant of the older Este, which we meet, Este the Quick-Witted, who was faithful to Remus while Remus was in his slumber. But then after the kingdom fell, we find out he follows Cassiodor back to Fontaine, has a family, that trickles down into current day Este. So when the symphony starts back up again and the Remuria quest line, his spirit comes back and inhabits a golem, like the Este the Quick-Witted. And it's not really clear why current day Este like sort of avoids being, hypnotized. We can only assume that it's because of his ancestor, right?
Yeah, it's like the assumption that there's something in the blood.
Bathe in the blood.
But then after the Remuria questline, he believes that Grispan's interest in hypnosis is valid. He's like, this is like a valid research area. We need to be paying more attention to this.
Meanwhile, Grispan is in Natland like, why aren't they answering me?
Yeah, and he's like, I can't wait for Grispan to come back so I can impress him.
I'm like, is he your mentor? Why are you impressing him? Why him of all people?
They're in love, clearly.
What? I mean, I'm okay with that.
They're gonna get married, and Lady Grobel is gonna be the one that performs the ceremony.
Yeah.
Meow, 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 meow.
Flower lady. Yeah.
I am very curious though too. So he kind of opens a door of who else is a descendant of Remuria. Are there other people that we've met that we don't know are Remurian? I mean, I feel like they initially make it sound like Remurians died off, right?
Yeah.
But then you find out that Este, the quick-witted, the OG Este that he's named after, I guess, that he does eventually like go to Fontaine to settle down. He follows Cassiodor and he plants roots and he makes a family. And I'm like, okay, so like, where's Cassiodor's ancestors? Like, where are these other ancestors? Did they stick together?
Well, I think at that point, Cassiodor was already like a shapeshifter. So I don't know if Cassiodor had children, but there has to be other people that also followed Cassiodor back to Fontaine proper.
Yeah, because he wasn't a golem, Este the quick-witted, when he followed Cassiodor, right?
Right.
Imagine golem babies.
Oh. Rock babies.
Rock babies.
Have you met my stone baby?
All I can think of is Dwayne The Rock Johnson's kids. The rock babies.
Like, I like to rock my rock baby back and forth.
But yeah, I would be very interested to know who these other Remurian ancestors are. And I'm like sad that Este was the only one that happened to be in Petrichor at the time. Because maybe we would have learned more. Does Remus have like an ancestor alive somewhere? We don't know.
That would be interesting.
But that's for another Remuria episode.
That would be Remus and Scylla's baby.
Yes. Yes.
You're into it.
I'm here for it. The dragon and the god king. Which one was the bee?
Yeah, the golden bee.
The Sealy.
The Sealy bee has a baby somewhere. It's me. Don't know if you guys do that. But anyway, yeah. Is there anything else we want to add about Este?
No, that's it.
All right. So I'm going to say we tackle Garcia first. I think that Garcia has less than Xavier.
I think so. I think that also has Brenda's big tie-in.
Oh, yeah. So Garcia. Garcia can actually be found in 3 different regions at different times. He can be found in Liyue, he can be found in Sumeru, and he can be found in Fontaine. And according to Felix, he is working on a numbering machine and says that he does zone out from time to time, but says he's a natural-born mathematical genius.
Yeah, and chances are we run into Garcia before Felix, right?
I'm not sure when the Liyue quest comes in with him.
Oh no, Felix was 2.8. Yeah, so it could have been either way. Yeah, so we run into him originally in Wangshu Inn.
That's where he is with Lutong, the hottie.
Oh, he's always with Lutong Hottie.
Yeah, they're never apart. And it brings questions in when the other Kaya gets introduced, because I'm like,
I know.
is it a throuple?
Yeah, it feels sort of weirdly thrupley. Like, I don't think that Lutong and Garcia are like a thing, but I feel like Lutong is like pushing Garcia into Kaya's arms, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. He's the wingman and the third wheel. You
The
know
wing
that
woman, yeah.
it's finally me and you and us. It's just us and your friend Steve. Do 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 do. Lutong. Do 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 do. Lutong. He will be the best man at the wedding. But yeah, what are they doing in Leeway?
So they meet at Wangshu Inn, and Garcia is in the process of inventing the numbering machine, and he wants to use formulae, which is like a novel idea, to create a foolproof method of making radish veggie soup.
I hate
So
it.
he's like, I suck at cooking, and I want to plug in a recipe and know exactly how to make this delicious radish veggie soup. Meanwhile, the cook is like, y'all are annoying, get out of here.
It's like that's the early side of the fresh to go boxes.
Yeah. So it doesn't go well, of course. The numbering machine needs a lot of work. And they mention even during that event that they're going to be moving on to Sumeru as soon as they have what they need so that they can further improve the numbering machine. And then we move on to Sumeru, which we've all done a lot of commissions
Oh my God,
from
there's so many.
Garcia and Sumeru.
Yes. A little too many. It's like, go get your own stuff.
Yeah, and you don't realize at first that it's one of those reoccurring dailies that if you don't do it in the right way, it's just gonna
Yeah.
come back and come back and come back. And so you
Mhm.
keep thinking you're done with it, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm like, who is Garcia? Why is he here? I don't want to talk to him anymore. Go away.
Take your shit and leave.
And then it's like, what? Who's this girlfriend? All of a sudden, I'm like, you got a girlfriend? I thought Lutang was your guy. Like, what's happening?
Did you notice that, like, when you talk to Kaya, you're like, so who are you? And she's like, oh, well, I'm a dancer.
And I'm like, what?
I'm like, are you a stripper? Are you a stripper? Have you been in touch with Cinnamon?
Do you know our Lord and Savior Cinnamon? Because I think we should bring you out into the forest. Also, the first time it's like Kaya and you're reading it Kaya, you're like, is this a trap? Are you Kaya? Shape-shifting? Is this something I should know? Is this a Conrian thing? Are you his sister? Because that's always, I'm like, Kaya has a sister somewhere. I'm convinced.
And her name's going to be Kaya.
Yeah,
Oh my
why not?
God.
Maybe it's like a family name.
There's gonna be like another version of Kaya.
So I know that in certain cultures, like I had a friend once, and they were telling me that in their heritage, you're named actually after the day of the week that you were born. So like anyone born on a Monday has the same first name, or any woman born on a Monday, any man born on Monday, like the men will all have the same name, and the women will all have the same name.
Oh, how depressing.
So like I don't know. I was just like, maybe that's just all. There's just all Kaya. I don't know. And then we learned about the Albrique stuff. And I was like, oh, it's not even Albrich, it's Albrique. My whole life has been shook.
Albrique.
Albrique. I bet D-Luke like whispers that to him sometimes when he's sleeping, like to purposely be nightmare fuel. He's like, are you an Albrique? An Albrique? He's like, ah.
So Kaya is a dancer who met Garcia after her troupe, because she's a dancer. There's a whole troupe.
There's a whole troop.
The troop leader hired Garcia to be their accountant. And Kaya thinks that she literally like says he's a weirdo, but also quite the charmer.
I feel like that's how you could describe the entire Daydream Club.
Yeah, exactly. Garcia becomes like increasingly distracted by Kaya, and they start going on dates, which are mostly set up by Lutong. Eventually, he learns that her troop is leaving Sumeru. So he asks the traveler for help in, his endeavor to turn the numbering machine into a composer to create a score as a goodbye gift for Kaya. So he wants to be able to like tell the numbering machine, aka the calculator, how to create a musical score, and it doesn't go well.
Yeah, because graphing calculators can write boob if you want, but that's about it.
I mean, they can do, if it's a scientific calculator, it can do a lot, but yeah.
Not if I'm holding
Yeah.
it. It can write boob, and that's it. Maybe hello if I can remember.
So his score is a mess. He accidentally leaves it on the table where Kaya finds it. And then he's like, let me use the numbering machine to create some calculated candied agilenok nuts.
The Sino loves.
God bless you.
Yeah, thank you. Let me wipe my nose. So he uses the numbering machine to actually create that, which actually works. So we actually see growth of the numbering machine, which is exciting.
Is it still a numbering machine? What is it now?
Yeah, it can do it. It's basically a computer. So we find out that she got him the same thing. Like she bought it. She just bought the candied nuts. But she's like so moved by the attempt at creating the score. And she tells him, like, come with me, come with my troop. Like, let's go away together. And he is very resistant. So he doesn't go. And she leaves.
Because he's got to go his own way. And she's like, but what about love? What about everything we've been through? And
Exactly.
he's like, what about trust? I never wanted to hurt you. So sad. High School Musical 2.
Wait, isn't that from something? That's a cover, right?
That was from High School
What
Musical.
about love? What about trust? Yeah, I've heard that before.
It's High School Musical 2 or 3. I don't remember which one, but High School Musical 3 is the best one, so we'll just say 3. Anyway,
It's heartbreaking. Like they belong together, obviously.
It's a Pink song.
What?
Oh, it is a Pink song.
Yeah. What about us?
Love? What about trust?
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
What about us?
Wait,
What about all the
which-
plans that ended in disaster?
Okay, so they're different.
What
Oh my
about all the
God.
broken happy ever afters?
Oh yeah, they're different. Okay. I was about to be like, who copied who? And I think Pink copied High School Musical 3.
I think Pink copied Genshin.
But so Kaya's group where were they going again?
It didn't say.
Oh, that's dumb.
Like her troop was leaving to go on tour.
Yes, they do.
Find out where they end up.
Yes, they end up in Fontaine.
That wasn't their actual location, though?
Well, I don't know if that's where they went right after the Sumeru dailies ended. But I will always remember doing this quest because it's like a 2-part quest. And the first part, I was like, oh, more fucking dailies with Garcia. I didn't realize what it was. And then I remember starting the second half of it and thinking that I like unlocked the next round of the dailies. And I was in Discord and I think you guys were both there. And I was like, guys, I'm scuba diving. What am I doing? I'm Scuba Steven. We're going to Remeria. Like, I don't know what's happening. I'm so confused. It was like such a fever dream moment. I took so many screenshots of it. I was like, I don't know what's happening. I didn't mean to do this. But basically, we go to Fontaine and we run into Garcia and Lutang. And Lutang is being hot as always and supportive. And we basically are finding out that Garcia is really struggling to like find inspiration. Lutang is like, all right, I think maybe we should go visit the club. We should go back to Petrichor and we should see like our friends. Maybe that'll inspire you. And he's like, no, they're thriving after being hypnotized and I can't distract them. and my pain.
Thank you, Grispan.
Yes. He's like, my pain will distract them from their research. And so he also talks about someone called Mr. Bousset, someone from the Fontaine Research Institute that is there at Petrichor, and he's like, they don't need me. But we find out that Garcia has actually been hired to do the books for the opera house now. So somehow or another, we get roped into going with him because apparently we're an accountant now.
We're a lot of things.
Yeah, I didn't want to be an accountant though. I did not enjoy that class. I took it. I hated it. And so we go with him to help him settle the books. And basically, the money that he makes there, he's going to eventually use to go back to Petrichor. He's kind of listening to Lutong, even though he's a little like self-pitying and wallowing. And while we're there, we run into Kaya. Not Albrique, but the love of his life.
But also, before we get to that, they were scared because Lutong tells us that, the numbering machine that's been doing well, it helped, like, since we helped them and Sumeru gathering all those parts during our daily commissions. But they have this goal of, like, further improving it. But then Garcia gets approached by a strange man who was later revealed to be Grundeland.
Which is really similar to Arudalin.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Oh, interesting. He's like, I can help you expand your product. All I need is for you to give me all of your plans.
I'm like,
All the blueprints, all the plans. So, of course, Garcia is like, no, thanks. And then after that, they start being followed and someone breaks into their room and they even alert the guard Menthe, to keep an eye on them.
And this is like something that we don't know yet, though, as a traveler.
Right. We find this out like shortly after running into Kaya. Yeah.
Yeah, like when we ran into Kaya, we were like, this is perfect. We're looking for inspiration. We found his lady. We got the hot guy with us. Like, life is great. And Kaya and Garcia kind of talk, and they decide that they're going to go get coffee together. And when they go to get coffee, Lutong turns to us and he's like, we're in danger. We're being followed. And he tells us all this information that Brandon just said. And he's like, don't worry, like, because we're like on high alert now, because we're like, oh my God, like, we just set like poor, beautiful Kaya out on her own with him. And now they're going to be like killed. Because that's just our experience, Fontaine. I mean, there's mafias, there's mob bosses, there's murderers, there's magicians being killed. There's a lot happening.
Water?
Yeah. Water.
Wow.
Murderous water.
Murderous water.
They could be drowned at any minute.
Yeah. And they could be disappearing at any minute. So he tells us, though, like, not to worry, like, they've alerted the guard, like Brandon said, and that they really don't think that this person will try anything as long as we're, like, in the city and out in public. And so with Lutong, we decided that we're going to go tell Kaya what's truly going on, and we're going to let her make up her own mind on whether or not she wants to risk her life being around Garcia. And they basically... we go to find Garcia and Kaya, and like, long story short, we know they're being watched. We can kind of see the guy, and we go and get the guards, and the guard is able to eventually go after him. And they don't catch him, if I'm remembering correctly, but we know who he is now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So at this point, we're like, well, are you guys going back to Petrichor? And he's like, well, no, we really can't go back with everything going on, so we're going to delay our trip. And he's like very thankful to the guards and to the theater for all their help, which I'm like, you're thanking the theater troupe? That's nice. You're just like, Kaya, thank you for your support. And yeah, that's kind of where that ends. And this is what I thought was a daily. And then for me, it was like a few days later, I run into Kaya, Lutong, and Garcia. And they're actually finally getting ready to go to Petrichor. And Garcia is just like very nervous between like the whole situation that just happened with Grundelin and then also everything that went on in Petrichor. He's just like a little on edge to go home. And Kaya is really trying to like reassure him like, hey, this is going to be fine.
Wait, we forgot something important.
Okay.
The previous quest. Lutong mentions that the trip to Petrichor is further postponed because mysterious illness happening, aka the Remuria storyline where like everyone's possessed. So the guards think that there's a hypnotic gas escaping from the ground, which is funny. That's like a very Buffy thing. Like, oh, we have to like create like a a weird version of what we think people will believe is the truth.
Yeah.
Anyway, Garcia tries to sneak away into Petrichor to help his friends because he's like, those are my friends. Those are my Daydream Club besties. And he's stopped by Kaya. And do you know how she stops him?
With a kiss?
Nope. She ties him to a mattress with
Sure.
satin restraints.
Just out on the street?
No, wherever they are, like
I
the
don't
hotel
remember
or
this
wherever.
part. Oh my God.
But it's like a thing where they're like, yeah, like he tried to go away and she wouldn't let him. And so she amicably stopped him. And we're like, amicably stopped him? What does that mean? And then they're like, tied him to a mattress with satin restraints.
Oh my God.
Sounds quite amicable to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, it just got 50 Shades up in here.
It really did very quickly.
Yeah.
And so then, eventually things are safe. There's no more gas leak. And Kaya's like, cool, we can all go together. And
Yeah.
so they're getting ready to go to Petrichor, and Garcia's really nervous because, he's worried about his friends.
His wrists are really sore.
His wrists are sore. He's had a good old time. He's like, are you going to tie me up in Petrichor too? But no, we don't ever see that, unfortunately. And so it seems that Garcia kind of knew what was happening now. And so he tried writing ahead to let them know that, like, he was coming and all this, but he hasn't heard from anyone still. And then Paimon sees Kaya and kind of, like, flirts with Kaya. She was like, hey there, Kaya. Is it just Paimon, or did you get prettier since the last time we saw you? And I'm like, Paimon, oh my God, like, you don't talk to me like that. So yeah, we go to Petrichor, which is great. And when we get to Petrichor, we go straight to the, like, home base of the club. And things are too quiet, according to Garcia. He's like, my friends are louder than this. They are crazy little hooligans. And then we run into Grudolin, the guy who tried to steal the numbering machine. And he's basically like, he's there. And they make note of the fact that Grudolin is there and he's tried to, like, rob from them. But he also makes note to say that Grispan and Grobel are gone. And long story short, you find out that Grudolin was at Petrichor and also got hypnotized. So he was part of the whole Remuria Petrichor situation. And Garcia is, like, the first one to be like, you don't seem right. Are you going to do evil shit? Meanwhile, the traveler is like, I wonder if he was under the influence of the Phobos, as well as, like, Babisse and Mécantre. And he starts to talk about, like, being in a stone body, knowing thy neighbor. And we're talking with the brothers and everything too. So we fill them in and we tell them everything that happened. We're like, this is what happened. The Phobos, you are all hypnotized. Here's, like, the true story. And now they're all like, well, we have to see Remuria. This sounds great and beautiful. And Mécantre and his brother are like, we want to see the places. We were golems. Like, we were like their shadows. We want to see those golems now. And we're all like, guys, we can't go to Remuria. And then one of the brothers says that they have dive suits, thanks to Grispan, who is MIA. And he brought them to study underwater hypnotism, because of course he did. And they're so grateful to him that Babisse is like, I wish him health no matter where he is. I'm like, oh my God, like, you guys really think he's MIA? Like, he's in Natlan. I've seen him. He's good. And this is the part in the quest when I was doing it where I was like, oh, this isn't a daily. I was like, okay, we're really diving. And they all put on dive suits except for me. Because I guess I don't need a dive suit. I could go fuck myself. Like,
Well, you were given this special little thing.
I don't care. I wanted a dive suit.
It would have been nice if they cared.
So Kaya decides that she wants to go. And at first Garcia is like, you can't come. Like, this is dangerous. And then the brothers are like, nah, we can all go and still have suits left over. So there was a suit for me. I just didn't get it. And we go diving with them. And Grunilin also comes with us. And Garcia is hell-bent on proving that Grunilin is still an evil bastard. And that this is somehow his way of getting the numbering machine. I feel like Garcia is having a little PTSD moment here, where he's like, you have tortured me for God knows how long. I don't trust you, and I'm here to prove to everyone that you are still a terrible person. And eventually, we get separated from Grundlin because he decides to swim ahead. He gets excited. He recognizes things. So Garcia follows after him. Garcia's like, please keep Kaya safe. And eventually, we catch up to them. And we actually have found the statue that Grundlin was with. And he's like, this is my guy. And he's like, I'm so shook. This is like crazy. And we're meanwhile going, wow, this is how the Phobos manipulated people. Like, he's like this into it right now. And we get into a conversation with the two brothers about this whole dreamscape they lived in and what it was like. And he says something like, one of them says, the daydream is a spark that every researcher is always pursuing, but knows not how to grasp. And he's kind of talking about how, like, they found inspiration through the golems, and they kind of felt like the person that they were living out the life of, they felt like they could have been daydreamers, and there's this whole little thing. And so while the brothers are discussing all this inspiration that they found from the dream, Grudolin starts to cry. And Garcia's like, are you kidding me? Like, this guy's crying. Like, these tears aren't real. And Grudolin is basically like, I just can't believe that I was almost this evil. Like, I can't believe it. And we're a little confused. And that's when later on the brothers are like, we think that Grudolin has actually turned a new leaf, despite what Garcia thinks. Because he's never been the one ruled under evil. He's always been the evil ruler. And now he's had like a taste of his own medicine, and we think he's having a lot of regrets. And we truly think that he has turned a new leaf. And from there, we return to the surface. And I really didn't feel like I got a good ending there. I kind of felt, personally, I felt like it kind of just stopped.
Would you say that you didn't get a happy ending?
I mean, I personally didn't, but I don't know. Like, I just don't feel like we got a full story. I know that, when Lutong is like, all right, once like Grudolin can like walk again, we're gonna bring him over to the guards and stuff like that. And he cries more. But we never really get like a Garcia wrap up or like a him and Kaya wrap up. It was a little upsetting on my end. I'm hoping that means there's more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think they're gonna show up again?
I mean, they have to, right?
I mean, they've showed up everywhere else.
Do you think that we'll see Kaya and Garcia again and get like a true wrap up of them?
I think so.
Because like, were you satisfied with the ending? I wasn't.
Not really.
So that is the Garcia quest line, which made me really love Garcia. I feel bad for the guy. Like, he's just like a mathematician who's being stalked for his genius. And he's just trying to be in love with an artist, basically. Like, they're the, like, West Side Story of the arts.
Yeah.
West Side
They
Story
deserve some kind of resolution of, like, they're getting together, they're getting married, Lutong's the best man.
Yes, exactly. Lady Grobel officiates. Grudolin
As
shows
she
up.
must.
Grudolin is there because he's been released from jail. He's gone through his rehabilitation process. And he's good to go now.
It really does sound like Rudolin, like a Rudolin.
It does, right? Grudolin or Rudolin. Like, I wonder if there's something there. Probably not. But, I mean, there's 3 Cyruses.
Yeah.
But, so that brings us to the piece de resistance of the Daydream Club. And that is Xavier. And we're going to say Xavier. We know it's technically not that. Just deal with it. We're not good with the French. We're going to keep forgetting that it's French. We've been calling him Xavier for a very long time. So politely, please deal with us.
Please ignore this.
We know when you read it, you read Xavier.
Yeah.
Javier.
We know you all do, except for you people in France.
Except for the French, which we respect.
Well, I mean, that's Dottore anyway, so.
Again.
So the first time Xavier, it's actually like a bunch of random dailies. Again, they love to just put the Daydream Club into fucking dailies. It's like the most annoying bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It is dailies, right? It's not just like timed. It's dailies, yeah.
It's not daily commissions, it's like a daily reset.
So you run into him and he's over at Tatarasuna where the furnace is, and we have an entire episode about Scaramouche that goes into some pretty deep details about the Mikage furnace and Tatarasuna. We also have an episode about Urabashi that goes pretty into detail about the furnace and Tatarasuna and like all the powers and stuff over there as well.
Yeah, and that is episode 73.
That's the Urabashi one. And I think Scaramouche is in like season 2. So between those two, you get a lot of good details and backstory on the
Season 1,
furnace.
actually.
Season 1, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what a season is anymore. So you can check those out. There's a lot of good backstory if you need a quick refresher after listening to this. But we run into him there. But before we run into him, you might have met Felix already at this point. And Felix describes him as a genius artist and creator of the film camera, which, by the way, is an exquisite product, I'll tell you that. However, his hidden talents are most stringly displayed in the films he creates. We believe that with all our hearts that this man will become the greatest filmmaker in all of Teyvat. That being said, I haven't heard from him since his journey to Inazuma. Honestly. So when we meet Xavier, we
He's
find
dead.
out. Oh my God.
He's dead.
Okay, Taylor Swift. When we first meet Xavier, we find out that him and a bunch of other Fontainians were sent to take care and do maintenance on the furnace on behalf of the shogunate. And when the rest of the team left, he chose to stay behind because, of course, he wanted to get a movie done. He was like, I'm a film shit because that's what I really am into, not this stupid ass furnace. And he wants to basically make a video, though, also to be promotional materials about their technology. But then pretty quickly, shit goes south for him, and he has to basically create a crisis plan alone to fix a meltdown within the furnace. And that's when all these like random daily quests come along, and you're basically out there collecting things, starting things, setting things up, fighting Fatui. I didn't enjoy it.
Were you also getting struck by lightning at the same time too?
Of course I was. It's Inazuma.
I was not a fan. I hated it.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I can see that. I'll give it.
Now, there is a lot of debate though around this, and we were having some pre-conversations about this. Brandon, Tiff, and I about, first off, Xavier, like, what is his role here? It's 7 days of quests of going in and out of the furnace and doing this and that and trying to fix the contaminated area, purifying a core. I mean, it's a lot. And then eventually, like, Xavier, he goes back to normal. And then he decides he's going to film like a samurai movie. And you could continue to see him in random dailies again as you help him film a movie. But there's a lot of questions about Xavier and his rule here. And I know Brandon really thinks that Xavier became Dottore the whole time. Like
Yeah.
he was. Now, before I let Brandon go,
I don't have much to say about it. I just think that's Dottore. They really did a clever job of hiding it. And if you read through the dialogue, which no one wants to do, you'll see like little clues that it is Dottore, but it's too much to go into and it's too hidden within context.
but basically within the voice lines, you think it's slowly showcasing like the fact that Felix hasn't heard from him, that no one has seen him, no one knows what he's up to, the fact that he's the only one who stayed behind.
He doesn't respond to any letters. And if you actually like, he sends everyone into the furnace, which is exactly what he did 400 years before.
Oh shit, I didn't even think of that.
Oh.
Yeah, something important for travelers just to note based on the history here is that way back in the day, there was a guy named Niwa. He had a little red streak in his hair, distant ancestor of the Kadihara clan, which is Kazua's family. And him and young Scaramouche, then known as Kuni, were friends. And Niwa was tricked by Dottore, who was undercover as a Fontainian mechanic or engineer, who was there to do some maintenance on the furnace as well. He was tricked and he got killed by Dottore. So that's why there's a lot of questions of like, is this Dottore coming back to finish the job of what he was doing back then? Is this him coming to redo it? And it's interesting because everyone's like, oh, we haven't heard from Xavier since he went to Inazuma, but then we do see Xavier in Fontaine. So then that becomes the question of like, do you think the Fontainian Xavier that we see in the Muskets and Roses event is also Dottore, or do you think like,
Yes.
oh, that's sad? Because I'll be honest, so there was an event not long ago, although I feel like not long ago could have been 2 years ago at this point, but it was a Fontainian movie event where basically they're hosting like a film festival. And despite the fact that Farina is not an Archon anymore, they're still calling the winning award the Farina. And we run into our good old friend Xavier, and I was so excited because I was like, this is a full circle moment. Like, we're making a movie with him now. This is what he's been talking about. We've seen him in Inazuma. And he's like, yeah, well, I'm shit out of luck because my investor pulled out. So now I'm not going to be able to make the best movie ever. And we're able to pull together a ragtag team for him of Farina, and he gets a new investor, and we get Ayaka, Yoimiya, like they all happen to be in Fontaine, so we get them involved, Chiori's involved, Ayato dips, Chevreuse takes over, and we make a movie with Xavier, and it's great, and it's beautiful, and we actually capture a murderer in the process. But Xavier wins the film festival. And so the idea that that's not Xavier and I've been duped and I celebrate Dottore that whole time just really hurts my soul.
I was gonna say, is it on the personal level that it really gets you?
I mean, I hate him. There are characters in this game that no matter how much they try, I will never like. And he's one of them.
My whole theory is that like Dottore as Xavier, that's like his side hobby. Like I actually think Dottore loves making movies.
No. Stop.
He's a filmophile.
Stop.
I think that he was sort of like annoyingly assigned that, but I feel like he was like, oh, when he first killed Xavier, he like found out all the things about him.
Well, my question is like, when do you think Xavier died? Like, do you think there was ever truly an Xavier in the Daydream Club? Or do you think that Dottore has been a Daydream Club member the whole time?
I think he was a member of the Daydream Club before he went to Inazuma, but as soon as he got there, Dottore killed him.
Oh.
Now, my next question becomes the whole thing with the segments. So we know that he got rid of the segments.
Yes, I know. I thought that's the same thing. I was like, but what about the segments? Because Nikita does away with the segments, or at least
Thinks that she did.
Yeah. I think that Xavier is the main segment.
He's just shape-shifting.
Yeah.
Because we know Dottore can shape-shift.
Like, I think Xavier is like his little pet project on the side where he like does his like insanity. And then he's like, oh, but then I can make movies as Xavier.
Oh my God. He has a dual personality that he uses just to get out of the house, basically, and not be arrested.
Yeah, kind of.
What are your thoughts, Tiff?
I mean, it's an interesting theory because, you know, we know that there could be little millions of Dottores running around. Now, Nahida, yes, told him, get rid of them and I'll give you the gnosis. But did she have any way to check that he actually did it? Like, you kind of had to take the word of a mastermind, like,
Of a
literal
masochist,
a
sadist.
sociopath.
Yeah.
Like you had to believe him. So it's like there's a good chance. And she might know that too. And she's just like, well, maybe he got rid of at least 5 of them, and that's at least 5 segments that are gone. I can understand, and I totally buy into the fact that Dottore and the Mikage furnace, like at that point, that makes sense with the dumb hat. Totally seems like that could be Dottore. Fits into the whole story because of the last time. But in following him around, like, even like we do like a little film thing with him at the Kamisato estate. And it's like, is that really him? Like, it just seems like he would get bored of it. And he's got to be like really fucking shit up all the time, or else what would be the point?
Yeah, I feel like he wants to be Xavier. That's sort of going to be his like redemption arc when he becomes a playable character.
Stop
Oh.
it. No.
You know what I
He
mean,
doesn't get
though?
a redemption arc. He's just damned. I
What
hate
if what
him.
if that segment that's left is nice? And he was like, "Oh, I feel so bad about murdering Xavier, and now I have to like live as him to make it right."
I don't know.
That's a story. I feel like that's a storyline that Genshin would 100% do, which because they had already done it.
I don't mind the whole like, oh, in his free time he's like terraforming into Xavier and like doing his thing. But the idea that there's like this
But
one
you
segment
want
that's
him to
gonna
be completely evil. What if he's not completely evil?
he literally killed his research partner.
But what if that was a different segment?
No, that was before the segments. That was like when he was Zandik.
But that was when there were segments. The segments didn't go away until Nikita, right?
Well, this was like before I think he knew how to make a segment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his Sumeru stuff was like hundreds of years ago.
He made segments long ago.
Yeah, but I think he didn't have the means to make a segment until he joined the Harbingers, I thought.
I don't know.
He was a
I don't remember
researcher before
reading
he
that anywhere.
Where is it in the manga where there's that line about that kind of talks about the segments?
Well, I think we first learned about it in the Winter Nights Lotso, where they're like, is that the current version of Dottore? And then we find out during the Sumeru quest line.
This says that Dottore did not develop his segments until several decades after Scaramouche joined the Fatui, which was sometime after the mutual involvement in the events of Tatarasuna, making it likely that the Omega's build's appearance was Dottore's natural appearance at the time.
Wait. Say that last part again?
They call the main look the Omega.
Yeah.
So saying that the Omega's build appearance was Dottore's natural appearance at the time.
Okay. So like the Dottore we see in A Winter Night's Lotso is the Omega.
I believe so, yes.
And that would make sense.
This says, while Zandik has not been explicitly stated to be Dottore's original name, attempting to put Zandik into Wanderer's name will trigger the Wanderer's reaction to names related to the Fatui Harbingers. And the only Harbinger who Zandik can be is Dottore. So this is suggesting that Dottore did not have any segments until after Tatarasuna. So that would have been shape-shifting, regular old Dottore.
Okay.
Wait, after Tatarasuna or during
After.
Tatarasuna?
It's saying decades after Scaramouche joined the Fatui,
Yeah.
which would have been way after Tatarasuna.
Wait, that doesn't make sense because Dottore infiltrated as someone else.
Shapeshifting. That's what I've been
Shapeshifting,
saying. Yeah, I think he's a shapeshifter. I don't think it's a segment because he reveals himself as Dottore, doesn't he? Like his voice changes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a shapeshifter, and that's why I don't fucking trust him.
Well, he's definitely a shapeshifter.
Yeah, I think that he started with shapeshifting and then he'd start tearing little bitty bots of him off.
Yeah, which would explain how he has different looks for all of his segments as well.
Yeah.
Which could be that his appearance in the manga is a segment as well.
Yes.
And that's why he looks like a Joker.
Yeah.
So is there a reason to not believe that Xavier is Dottore?
The only reason that you cannot believe it is if you stand true to the fact that Nahida got rid of, oh no, because he could be shapeshifting. It's just hard because it's like, what spare time does a Harbinger really have to be out there pretending to be Xavier half the time?
I mean, really, what else are they doing?
Well, I mean, they're doing stuff. I mean, Dottore seems like he's going to be a big deal in Nod Cry.
Yeah.
So is that when he's going to admit it in Nod Cry? He's going to be, by the way, I'm that filmmaker.
Isn't he rumored to be playable?
I hate that. I don't even want to think about that. I hope that I know it's not gonna. I know it's gonna be probably one of the
He's gonna
highest banners.
show up as Xavier.
Shut up! That's the skin they release with him.
He takes off the hat and turns
Oh
into
my
Dottore.
God.
It's like the one he gets a skin right away. They're like, do you want to play as Dottore or do you want to play as the Xavier? It's the KFC collab.
Oh my God.
It's actually, we're bringing Blockbuster back. They're gonna do a collab with Blockbuster, and Xavier's the Blockbuster skin.
I know this sounds like a crazy conspiracy theory, and I wanted to provide proof via dialogue, but it's all so subtle. Like if you just read, like just Google Xavier and like look at all of Xavier's dialogue, you'll see that that's Dottore.
You will just see. You will know.
You'll be like, oh, if you read it as Dottore, you're like, that's Dottore.
And I will say, Brandon sent us some of the clips separately, and I do see to a bit of where you're going.
Yeah, I was sending y'all like little snippets, and I was like, that's Dottore.
I think what makes it the hardest to believe is just that they would have to have had this plan from day one. And how much do we trust that they've had anything planned since day one, right? Is always the question.
Oh, I fully believe they have things planned that far in advance. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely do think they plan things in advance, but something like this specifically seems...
And by they, we're talking about Hoyo.
Yeah, Hoyo. Yeah, not the Fatui. Although, two in the same sometimes, because they developed the Fatui. But yeah, let us know what you guys think about the Xavier Dottore thing. That is all we see of Xavier thus far. Now, there is one other character that I wanted to bring up, and it's more of like a rumored character. So I'm going to bring us back to Bottleland. I feel like I've been bringing us back to Bottleland a lot lately. So for those of you who didn't get to play Bottleland because it was one of the summer events, basically Aunt Alice, as Albedo likes to call her, sends a letter to Klee inviting her to go hang out in a bottle in the middle of the desert. So we accompany her. And we end up joining forces with the likes of Eula, Kale, and Kokomi, and Kaya, of course, and Klee. It was her invite. We just went. And we end up in a bottle. And the bottle is run by an Oceanid and a bunch of hydroedolons that are taking human forms. And every human form that they take within this mirage, that's what they call Bottleland, is they're taking the shape of a human that has visited before. So a lot of people are curious about one of the human hydroidolons named Zosimos, Zosimos. So when you talk to him, you find out that the real Zosimos, like the inspo for this Eidolon, is someone who's actually a prop designer, and he does a lot of stage performances, but his true dream is to be a director and write his own plays. And we actually perform one of those plays with Kaya, Klee, and Kokomi, and if you did Bottleland or you've seen the skins, Kaya and Klee get to keep their costumes. So that's why Klee has the cute little mage outfit, and that's when Kaya gets his pirate fit. And I thought it was really interesting at first when they were like Zosimos, director, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my God, maybe it's Xavier, right? But then Zosimos has like a mustache and stuff, and Xavier doesn't. I would say that Zosimos looks more like Garcia, but with a mustache, with like longer hair and stuff. But this is when Brandon got in my ear and was like... Ooh, Xavier is Dottore. Ooh.
Uh-huh.
So a part of me was very curious of what if the real Xavier did visit Bottleland and he looked differently, and the Xavier that Dottore is putting on is a different look. And that's totally possible that Xavier may have visited Bottleland at some point, and I don't know, he was trekking around the Sumeru desert. That could have gotten him killed. Dottore tends to hang out over there. So I don't know. There's no one that looks like Zosimos fully in the Daydream Club that we know of. So I'm not really 100% sure. Maybe it could help prove Brandon right. Maybe it could help prove Brandon wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to be wrong because Xavier would be fun, like as like a not Dottore person.
And he's a fun character. And when you meet him in the film thing, you're like, oh my God,
I know.
Full circle.
I feel like that's what better way to villainize Dottore than to infiltrate a character that we seen over and over again that no one would expect.
Yeah, that's true.
And I can't get Felix being like, we haven't heard from him. What happened to him? He's missing. Like, he's not responding to my letters. Like, there's a reason for that. There's always a reason for something like that in dialogue.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so Zosimos, and the main reason people think Zosimos is possibly a daydreamer is because he has on like that red outfit that everyone but Este wears. So Just a little interesting thought there. Is there anything else that either of you wanted to add about the Daydream Club?
I just want to say that I really enjoy them.
Yeah, and I feel like we went into as much detail as we could, and that proves that they're gonna have to come back to them at some point because there is
Mhm.
not a lot still. Like this little group of inventors, they're up to something.
Yeah, I feel like it's rare that inventors and scientists are sort of painted in like a beautiful way.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that because I do think science is beautiful and I think more people should believe in it.
Mhm.
So
The idea that people don't believe in it is absolute
ridiculous.
bonkers.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I
It's not
really
a
like that
unicorn.
they're like celebrated, you know. I like that.
Yeah, I agree. But hopefully we'll get more about them soon. You never know, but hopefully one day soon we'll get something. That being said, Kirara is ready to give us the mail and go to bed. So our first message today is going to come from MJ. And they said, if Hoyo released an official Genshin cookbook, what recipe would you want to try the most? For me, it would be Farina's signature cake, Pour la Justice, or Kanisha's blazing meat stew, Saurian Hunter's Reward, because both look so freaking delicious. And I will say that MJ later followed up with this question saying, LOL, they literally just announced that they are coming out with an official cookbook. So, what are the foods, guys?
I am extremely picky and I don't like a lot of I don't like a lot of stuff. So one of my biggest problems with any of the Genshin foods is a lot of them do have fish or mushrooms or seaweed, and those three are like, get the hell away from me. I can't. So what I would prefer would be on the sweeter side. Granted, I could go with a monster. I could go with a satisfying salad or Fischl's mom's
I'm
famous
sorry,
cold cuts.
if you said either one of those options, I would have made you repick. You can make yourself a salad or a cold cut platter any day, Tim. You don't
Well,
need a recipe book for those.
my choice is Aoife's signature emotional support. It is a defense dish, and it is like cookies and the Mexican way of saying chocolate, chocolat. No, not chocolat. It's it's the Mexican or Aztec kind of form of chocolate, which would be
Chocolate?
chocolate. Chocolate. Yeah, thank you. Knew I was going to get to it. Chocolate. So it's a Spanish way of saying chocolate, basically. And he's got little cookies and stuff on it. And I love the idea of Kaku just kind of flying this out to me, like, "Hey, eat up, bro.
Bro,
Eat up, bro." Yeah.
bro.
I think it's pretty and it's cookies and it's chocolate and what more do you need in life? But it would almost seem like it was like while they made it cookies, they say it's like fragrant cookies, and I'm like those could be churros.
Oh my God, I love a churro. Stop.
Emotional support.
Churro. Emotional support churro. That's all I can think of. What about you, B?
So I'm not a big fan of sweets and I'm a vegetarian, so I feel like I'm sort of defaulted to like maybe what, three recipes.
Yeah, if you don't like the sweets, you get kind of fucked.
This game is obsessed with meat,
Yeah.
obsessed with meat and sweets. So it's slim pickings for me. So I would just do any vegetarian one.
Like anything, please.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, like any of them.
There's not like a cheese platter in Fontaine. You would think that Fontaine would have a cheese platter.
I would love that.
What about pancakes made by Noelle?
I'm not a big pancake fan.
I guess they can be sweet, right?
Yeah, they're usually sweet. Yeah.
It's just a block of cheese. That's all you're getting.
Put it on a pancake and I'm good.
Because everything else I'm looking up that has cheese, it's got a crab with it too.
Yeah. There is a mushroom pizza, so I guess I would go with that as my official answer.
Mushroom pizza. Or wait, what are the wasn't there like a falafel too?
Yeah, I like mushroom pizza more than falafel, so
Fried radish balls? Sounds terrible, honestly. A radish?
You want a fried radish? Did you just say that your favorite is a fried radish bowl?
No, I was trying to say that that could be
Oh.
Brandon's.
Stop trying to put balls on my mouth, Amanda.
Sorry, it happens at least once a week. Or there's a garlic baguette. That sounds lit.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds good. Maybe put some cheese on it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Those are not my options, though. I think for me, I'm also a picky eater, but I also can never say one thing. So I'm at a tie between three.
Oh my.
Well, obviously, I would want to know what their miso soup recipe is. I mean, hands down. I love a miso soup IRL, so I want to know what the Genshin miso soup is, specifically if they make it Toma's, because Toma's warmth is a specialty dish he makes, but it's his version of miso soup. I would love to know what a Mondstadtian's take on miso soup is.
He warms the soup between his legs.
No, I don't know if I could eat that actually. Ooh. Then I obviously would want to try the Mondstadt hash browns because they seem to have like a bit of like a crab kick to them. Like, are they Old Bay? I don't know. And my third option would be the grain fruit chips, which is basically Natlin nachos, which I'm down for.
That's fun.
Yeah, those are mine. I just picked like a whole like appetizer, basically meal.
Those are the best meals.
Yeah, right. When you're just like, all right, I'm gonna have mott sticks. I'm gonna have breadsticks. And what other sticks do you have?
They're always way better than the entree. Always.
Oh my God, Tiff and I went out I guess it was a few months ago at this rate. It feels like it was only weeks ago. We went out to dinner and I literally was starving when we sat down and I was like officiating a wedding that night. And I was like, Tiff, I'm starving. And we ordered like 3 appetizers and they were all so fucking good. I was like the pretzel. But MJ, thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Thank you, MJ.
We are excited to see what the first item you make in the cookbook is.
And if you make that cake, I need lots of pictures because that cake is pretty.
All right, our next message is a little more serious. It comes from Travo, and they said, okay, couples therapy challenge. You are sitting in a chair, and in front of you is your most hated playable character from Genshin. They are sitting in a chair facing you directly. In order to leave the chair you are in, you have to say 5 good things about that character. However, you can only say one thing that's like a generic compliment. The examples they give is, I think your hair is cool, so they say you can't have all 5 things be like, oh, I like your hair, I like your shirt, I like your this. So,
okay.
I think Tiff should go first.
No, I want to go last, actually.
You want to go last? Okay.
I'll go first.
Oh, I'm curious who your hated character is.
Well, his name starts with a C and ends with a Hild. I would say I like your hair.
Wow.
No, I would say I like your midriff.
Okay.
I appreciate your love for your siblings.
Okay.
That's nice. I like what you did during the Fontaine quest. Oh God, I still have 2 more.
Dig down.
I like that you have 2 different weapon types. And I like that you're in love with Zhongli.
So I was between a few characters, but I did pick the Raiden Shogun. So I'm going to say I love your hair. It's beautiful. I very much appreciate your dedication to bettering your nation. I love how gentle you are with birds, but not your own kids. I love how open-minded you are now about the arts from other nations. I appreciate your tenacity in battle. That was 5, right? That was 5?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Are you okay?
No. I'm gonna go talk to Albedo now.
I don't think you'll ever know who I'm picking. I mean, I don't think I've ever said it to any of you.
The Raiden Shogun as well.
Goro.
Goro. I hate that little fucker.
Oh my God.
I just had to get that in there. I can't say nice things until I got it out. Okay, Goru. You're a really good general during the Kokomi big battle for the Sakoku decree, and you were on the right side. It was really nice that you held all of Kokomi's really crazy books for her so she could write out 10,000 different strategies. So that was kind of you. It's nice that you give advice to people who need it, even though you never apparently read the magazine, or else you would know that you're Miss fucking Hina.
Oh my God.
Come on now. He never read his own.
No caveats. You have to just say nice things.
I said it. I said the nice thing, that it was nice that he helps people.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fascinating that you can talk to dogs. That's a thing I'd like to do. And then I like when your tail wags, when you're happy, even though it embarrasses you. I think that you should embrace it because it's a part of you. And I think that's something that men don't do enough, is actually embrace themselves. And since right now it is currently June is Men's Health Month, to take a little soapbox there and say that it's important that, especially mental health in men are 4 times higher to unalive themselves than women. And most of those men are in the US, Canada, and the UK. So if you are, and even if you're not a man, you're he, she, they, if you ever have any thoughts down those paths, and if you're in the United States, you can dial 988 on your cell phone. And you're in the United States or anywhere else, you can go to 988lifeline.org for help. So take care of yourselves. And men's mental health, need to embrace your emotions and yourself.
Tiff, that was beautiful. And also, June is Pride Month, so I would also like to see Ito embrace Goro.
I will say I didn't know that June was Mental Health Month until I saw Ryan Guzman posting about it. He is the actor who plays Eddie on 911, and he actually has a really sad story with mental health, and he's come forward with it. So I definitely, if anyone wants a good story to read and find some inspiration from and how far they've come, I definitely recommend looking into his too. Thank you, Tiff, for that. It was beautiful.
And I would also suggest, while it's men's health in general, there's been a big focus for men's mental health, because it's something that, especially in those 3 countries that I said, is a very taboo topic, and men don't embrace it the way that they need to and the way that they should be allowed to because of toxic masculinity. I have found an enormous amount of men on TikTok actually coming forward, and the ones you really wouldn't, if you judged a book by their cover, you would never think that they would be putting these things out there based on what you expect in our culture. And it's great to see that people are pushing past that and starting to allow themselves to be human.
Yeah, absolutely. That being said, check on your friends. And that's all we have for this episode. If you liked this episode and you'd like to provide some feedback, or you didn't like this episode and you'd like to provide feedback or let us know about topics you'd like to see in the future, you can email Albedo at talesofteyvatpod@gmail.com to let us know your thoughts and feelings. You can also feel free to rate us on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts to let people know that you can find some shooketh vibes here. Additionally, travelers can check us out on Ko-fi, where you can buy us a cup of coffee. You can check us out and check out our merch shop. All proceeds go to paying for our editing softwares, for our web hosting, and things like that. Additionally, travelers who are 18 plus can feel free to join our collaborative Discord server, Shades of Teyvat. You could join that by going to bit.ly/Shades of Teyvat, no spaces, no uppercase. Kaveh and Aventurine do check IDs at the door for us, just like they do at Twink Tank. So please make sure that you are 18 plus before you join the server, and you can come hang out with us and some other Genshin loving folks. Next week, we are going to be heading all the way out to Ochkanatlan to discuss the original City of Fire. Until then, safe journeys, travelers. We'll see you next time.
Bye, depression nerds.
Facts. All the day, every day.
Yeah.